Hey everyone, today I have decided to do a review of one of my favorite books called Modern Romance by Aziz Ansari. It came out a couple years ago and I picked it up because I am a fan of his and I did not know what to expect. But I'm glad that I picked it up because he discusses some things that I feel are very important, and I hope it opens a conversation with other people. And he speaks about dating here in the States, dating around the world, how people choose to communicate, what people choose to communicate to other people when they are looking for a spouse or a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. And just like our severe lack of interpersonal communication skills. I love technology. I'm a big fan of it. However, I think it has done a huge detriment to how we choose to communicate with each other. Like having just a personal conversation with someone face to face, or on the phone. Like kids nowadays don't even like have a conversation on the phone. It actually makes that point in the book that it makes this generation actually gets, and by this generation I mean, I don't want to say millennials because I am a millennial, this younger group, teenagers, early 20s, who don't like to use the phone. Like, it causes anxiety for them to actually have to use the phone. They would much rather just communicate with someone through text. So examples like that, how that plays out into dating. So he actually starts this book by discussing a story in his own life where he was interested in a girl and she went ghost. And initially he was anxious because she did not respond in like the 2 minutes that she sent the text, which is also another problem in society. I think we're so used to immediate responses and immediate gratification that even if a person is busy with their life, that we get really anxious when they don't respond to us like immediately. So he speaks about that. He speaks about how she was ignoring him and was fully updating like her Instagram and other social media. So, and I know that happens a lot. People are like, well, if you're too busy to talk to me, but you can update Instagram, then what message is that sending? So, yes, so the book goes into a lot of really fascinating topics, and I am going to try to do my best to make my words concise and clear, because when I get excited about a topic, I just stumble and then it sounds horrible. So let me get my notes out here. This is the first chapter, and I'm going to read some excerpts because they're just fascinating to me and they can be a jumping off point for a conversation. So the chapter of the first title, the title of the first chapter, my God, the title of the first chapter is Searching for Your Soulmate, and it discusses some of the aspects and viewpoints of dating, like a young person dating now versus like a person 1960s and before then. And so I will try to give context to the quotes that I have. Where did my quote go? Okay, so in the context of this, there's an older gentlewoman that was an older person, let me say, that was interviewed. And in the book, I think someone was making the argument that shouldn't dating be easier now because we have more options. And the old person was not buying it. In fact, that is how the quote starts. So let me start here. It says the older folks weren't buying it. They understood that they had fewer options when they were growing up, but intriguingly enough, they didn't seem to regret having fewer choices. As one woman explained, you didn't think about the choices you had. When you found someone you liked, you jumped into a relationship. I don't think we thought, well, there are another 12 doors or another 17 doors or another 433 doors. She said, we saw a door and so we took it. Oh my God. Like, this is just like so much to unpack, because I just feel like I feel like that's a very rare viewpoint nowadays. Like I said, I don't believe that more choices equals easier to date. I remember hearing multiple times in different studies that, like, when small children have too many options in regards to toys, foods to eat, they become overwhelmed and they they can't function. So it's easier for them and healthier for them to have a simpler life, I guess, with simpler choices. And I think that really, I think that can also extend to being an adult. I just think we have bought into the grass is greener on the other side. Like, I like this person, but they don't have blonde hair. And I hate even saying that because it's just so stupid, but it happens. And so because because a person may not have this one minute criteria that you have wrapped in your head, they are no longer dateable. And I've had conversations with my own friends. I've listened to Second Date Update. I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but every big city has their own version of it. What it is it's a radio bit, and someone calls in, a listener calls in, and they talk about the date they just went on and how the other person went ghost, but they don't know why. So they actually call the other person, and it's always some just asinine reason as to why they didn't. Some of the reasons are actually really legit, but a lot of the times they're I didn't like this person because they told me that they like to watch the Kardashians, or I didn't like this person because they had green pubic hair. Green isn't dye. It did but they still have sex with them. So I don't. Yeah. So they'll completely dismiss them. So I think that's a big problem in dating, is that we are so judgmental immediately, and we don't get to know a person. We just swipe left or swipe right. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry, guys. I don't really get on these apps. There's actually a story in here, and I don't know which chapter it is, but they're interviewing a guy. I'm going to call him Joe because he's just an average Joe. Doesn't really have he's just average. Everything about him, his looks, per the story, I don't know, they didn't give a picture of him. Per the story, he is average in looks, his job is average. I don't know what it is, but he's just an average guy. And so they were the creators of the book were looking at him reviewing some of the ladies that he was maybe into on Tinder, and he was just swiping when you're not interested in someone, whatever direction, I don't know what it is, but he just was swiping, and they're asking, they're these are actually these girls, they're reading their profiles or whatever, and they're this, they actually don't seem that bad, why are you continuing to ignore them? And he's oh well, they just don't have the spark or smile that I'm into, they don't really have the I don't know, they don't have a gold tooth on the left side of their face. I don't know, it's just ridiculous reasons. And so in the book, Aziz is trying to make the point, how are you this judgmental over someone? And how are you this judgmental over someone when you yourself, sir, are average, mediocre? And I feel that's how a lot of dating is. I just feel I'm not saying that you can't aspire to marry someone or date someone who is in another income bracket, or just, I don't know, not on your level. That sounds so rude, but you know what I mean when I say this. There's not anything wrong with aspiring to this, but I just feel we just discredit so many people so quickly, and so in doing that, we block our own blessings. This could be a really great person, but you choose to just not be really into them for some dumb reason. So yes, that is, I don't know what point, I forgot what chapter that is in the book, but that is something that really resonated with me, because I just feel it shouldn't, dating people are gonna be mad at me when I say this, but I just don't think dating should be this complicated. And it took me a really long time to find my husband, mind you. But I just, like, when I hear stories of when people are thinking about dating, they're discrediting them for usually just like a ridiculous reason. And I'm like, you can't work through that. Like, you can't tell them, like, again, and this goes to communication as well. But anyways, it's my daughter. I gotta go. I'll continue this in a bit.